back to Lex Reads. So in today's video, we are doing another read a book in one day. I'm so excited for this because it's an author from the Harlem Renaissance. It's an author where I've never read a novel by them. I've read some short stories, but never read a novel. And that author is Langton Hughes, Not Without Laughter. This was his debut novel, and this is his only full-length novel. Like I said, he has short stories and has plays, of course, nonfiction, and y'all know poetry. He's known for poetry. He is probably one of my favorites. I would say him and Paul Laurence Dunbar and Gwendolyn Brooks is probably my favorite female. And then I do like Maya. Yeah, we have to have Maya. But yeah, I would say I like Gwendolyn a little bit better, but you know, girl. I digress. This was Langton's debut novel, came out in 1930, and it's semi-autobiographical. You're dealing with a young boy. His name is James Sandy Rogers, and he is, what, 9 years old? Fun fact, Langton's first name is actually James. And it's in Kansas, and you have a young mother. Her name is Angie. Angie is a domestic, and he lives with his grandmother, Aunt Hagar. And he also lives with his younger aunt, Harriet. Harriet is 17. Basically a Black family in Kansas that is like, living through racism and just living in their little small town. And Aunt Hagar, she is a woman that she's a force to be reckoned with. Okay. That's Sandy's grandmother. And she does washing for whites. And you just don't mess with her, okay? I love Sandy, just seeing, the world through his eyes. First of all, he's such a sensitive young boy, very observant, okay? Kids, they be listening and stuff like that. And he's like that. Now, he got this little trifling daddy, Jim Bob. First of all, his name Jim Bob. Jim Bob, he travels for work. He don't tell Angie where he be going. She don't know if he coming or going. She be waiting on letters and stuff. And the grandmama, her mom, why are you dealing with him? Why did you marry him? She I love him. That's my child's daddy. Girl, anyway, it is what it is. So you just see them go back and forth. And then when Jim Bob does come in the picture, him and Hagar, they just be arguing. They don't like each other. Yeah, he kind of give me a baby boy type. Y'all seen baby boy Jody? Look, Jody, my Jody. He give me that. Don't want to work. Don't want to eat the food. His mother-in-law and his wife, have to go and prepare and pay for. If they had a car, he driving the car. Y'all know how Jody was, driving Yvette's car, which is like, Yvette, you crazy. Don't got no house, live with his mama and all that. Look, girl, I'm getting on a tangent, but y'all know. He give me Jody vibes from Baby Boy. Irks my soul. One character that I do like, besides from Sandy, I like Harriet, which is the younger sister. Harriet, she's like, you know what? I hate that we have to be subservient to, these white people. And we're just as good as them. And we have things going for ourselves. But it's always a hindrance for us. She hates that. And her thing is, she's in Kansas, so there is some integration. And it was one scene, she's in high school and they were going to a theater. She's walking with her class. She's, getting ready to sit down. And they're like, oh, colored, stay in the back. And she's like, well, I'm with my class. And they're like, no, you need to get in the back. And she like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm sitting with y'all next to each other, conversating with y'all, and I can't sit and watch the movie. I gotta sit back in the back and can't see the screen. And she like that, but she's a little, not fast, but she, how you little teenager, you think you know everything, and she does think she know everything, okay? But in some instincts, it's like, I do understand what she's, saying, but it's like, girl, you still a child. But yeah, this writing, fantastic. It's so modern. Like I always say, with Harlem Renaissance, very, very modern. Let me just read you this part. Jim Bob, the tall, good-looking yellow fella whom her second daughter had married. First of all, I don't like his name, she would say in private. Next place, I ain't ever seen a yellow dude yet that meant a dark woman no good. And Angie is dark. That's another thing. Angie's like, you know, he's a light-skinned man and like he chose the likes of me, so I'm like lucky. There were mighty few dark women had a light, strong, good-looking young husband, really a married husband like Jim Bob, and a little brown kid like Sandy. I'm mighty lucky, Angie thought, even if he ain't here. 2 tears of foolish pride fell from the bright eyes in her round black face. First of all, she knows she ain't happy, okay? But the fact that she thinks like that, and that's not anything new. Not anything new. Again, Harlem Renaissance, so relevant. But when they've only been married for about 9-8 years. And when they got married a week later, he left. He talking about he's a wanderer, but he likes her to stay in one place, and you know, she's a nice girl and things like that. And then, like I told y'all, Sandy is real sensitive. One day his mom is a domestic, and like the white lady was just talking kind of badly, and he just started crying, you know, because he's like, you know, the way she's just talking to my mama. And then I told y'all, Harriet real, you know, young, and they were at a carnival and he saw her dancing with the old like white man and a black man. But he said Sandy had lived too long with 3 women not to have learned to hold his tongue about private doings of each of them. Nobody would know he had watched his Aunt Harry dancing on the carnival lot today in front of a big fat white man in a checkered vest, while a Negro in a red suit played the piano. Again, so observant. He know, we can't tell, you know. And I love the scene where Aunt Harriet wasn't supposed to go to a party. She be going to these parties, y'all. And her boyfriend like, look, you know, this the last party, we need to go. And she's like, well, I can't leave him here. And Sandy like, well, I can go. So they go and dance and come back at 4 in the morning. Sandy have a ball. He eat his fish sandwiches and drink his red pop, but he fall asleep. And she like screaming like, boy, where you at and stuff like that. Come home 4 in the morning. Aunt Hager beat that tail, okay? And yeah, but this is so good. So good. I was so excited to read a novel by him because, like I said, never read his, you know, debut novel. I have a good amount of works by Langton Hughes. I started out, of course, with his poetry, but I love his short stories. My favorite, if you haven't read any of his short stories, I would highly suggest you read The Ways of White Folks. This is so good, you guys. I love Cora Unashamed was really good. What that deal? Oh, I can't tell y'all because I'll give it away, but that was real good. And he has a way of telling stories where you think you know where it's going and it goes total, you know, opposite direction. He keeps you on your toes, and what you expect does not happen. So he's like that. He's not predictable. And what else is another one I like? Passing's really good. Oh, I mean, these are just so good. Mother and Child is really good. And then this portable Harlem Renaissance reader, I read a lot of his short stories out of this. No, it's from this one, The Messenger. The Messenger was a literary magazine back in the 1920s and 1930s. The Young Glory of Him, that fantastic. Oh my gosh. And The Little Virgin. But I think The Young Glory of Him got me. Oh my gosh. You have a young man, he works on like a ship and he real fast, okay? And he gets these women and he always saves like some memorabilia from them. But he get with this young girl on that ship and he wrecks that girl's life and something horrible happens to him. But the way he writes it, so good. Like, it was so good where I highlighted and tabbed and wrote. That's how good it was. Y'all gotta read that. And then, like I said, The Little Virgin, that was good. But that one, amazing. And then I have this, a collection of his poetry. This is all of his poems. And they also have poems that was not released. Love this. I got this from Barnes & Noble for very cheap. This is only $20. And like I said, everything, all of his poetry. And then I also have this, The Mule Bone. This was a play by him and Zora Neale Hurston. Fun fact, they didn't like each other. They couldn't stand each other. And this play, because they couldn't stand each other, it didn't go on Broadway until after they were both dead. Because I think Langston took the play and said it was his or something like that. He either took it and said it was his, or Zora took it and said it was hers. And they didn't get along. I have not read this. And I got this from Amazon because it's really hard to get. And I was able to get it on Amazon. I don't know if this was finished. Was this play finished? I don't know. I don't think they finished it because they were beefing. But I need to read this. Yeah. And then I also have another play by him. This was his. It's The Black Nativity. This I like to read during Christmas time. They did a movie a couple years ago with Jennifer Hudson, Forrest Whitaker, Angela Bassett, and it was really good. And they had the music and everything. So yeah. And then I also have one of his autobiographies. I have The Big C. And this one I know is talking about his life during the Harlem Renaissance, during when he lived in Kansas and his family. And then he has another autobiography where he talks about like his later life. But yeah, that's all of the Langston I have. Oh, and then I have this too. These are letters that he wrote to Carl Van Vechten. He was Carl Van Vechten. He was a white man. He really did finance a lot of Black authors during the Harlem Renaissance. But he wrote this book called In Heaven. A lot of controversy, and it's very stereotypical. I don't even think you can get that. I saw a copy on eBay, but I don't even think that's in print because of the name. But yeah, these are letters back and forth with him. So yeah, guys, that is what we are reading for the day. It is Monday. Y'all know I like to do this on Monday because I don't work. Also, it's Martin Luther King Day. Happy Martin Luther King Day. We're going to be reading that. And then I need to organize. I put up another shelf. I need to organize that. Funny thing, it's all of my Harlem Renaissance books. So I'm so glad I'm going to be able to house them in here because I had to put them because they were in my room, in my bedroom. And I'm so glad I have like a dedicated area to them. And I'll show you guys that. But my main thing is finish my book. I do want to go to Walmart to get, why I gotta go to Walmart? I gotta go there for some reason. I know, I can't remember, but there's a reason why I need to go. And then I do need to go to the dollar store to get another frame. And then I do meal prep and stuff like that because I got to get ready for the week. But yeah, guys, that's it.
Connection I felt reading him was that he had to have spent a lot of time alone, recuperating from some of the stresses of being in this particular family. He connected with nature. In fact, I recently was there and saw the river that runs through Lawrence that I understood that Langston had loved and had spent a good deal of time looking at and feeling. So I think that actually he was supported by nature when he could not feel supported by his parents.
Okay, so Angie, which is Sandy's mom, has just left to go to Detroit because Jim Bob talking about he got well, no, I don't think he said he got a job. It's really good for like Black men and colored, and it don't look like he coming to Kansas anytime soon. He's been gone for the entire winter. So she's like, I'm gonna leave and go with him. And Aunt Hager's like, oh, what about Sandy? And she's like, oh, well, can he stay here? And maybe we can come back and save, like pay the mortgage, like we get on our feet and stuff like that. The good thing is Aunt Hager like wants Sandy to be there because like all her kids are gone basically. Her husband's dead. The oldest daughter, Tampy, I think that's how you say her name. She like don't talk to them, don't say nothing to them. She like a uppity Black. She don't associate with them. Harriet, we have learned, has been doing some stuff and she gone. And now Angie. So it's just her and Sandy. But I hate when women they choose a man, instead of their child. And it's like, she just is blind, and he is just so trifling. Like, you don't think he got a woman there? Clearly he ain't got no job. And she like saved up her money. She's been doing, like, she's been a domestic for like 10 years. She's in her late 20s. And you go take up all your money, go down there with him. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to. I have a feeling that she gonna come back, because that ain't gonna work. But I'm like, girl, is you serious? Angie is frustrating the mess out of me, okay? Like, the mess out of me. Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys, so I'm almost done. I just got out the bathtub. Y'all know how much I love reading in the bathtub. I read a good amount. I'm on page 277, so I'm almost done. But something, not horrible, but just sad happened, and it changed Sandy's, life. And now he is actually living with his aunt, Tempe, which she's the one that's like the real sadiddy, aunt, and her like ideologies towards blacks is not good. She one of them blacks where it's like she's prejudiced to her own kind, basically. It's because she got a little bit of money, a little bit of status, her and her husband, so they don't know how to act. When you get that money and stuff, you forget. Sandy's such a, bright young boy. He's about 14 right now, and he's, really, really smart in school and things like that. And he has so many questions about like life, and when it comes to girls and things like that. He likes this particular girl, and of course she's like, I don't want you to deal with her because she comes from the bottom. Mama, is like a domestic and all that, which her approach is really bad, but at the same time she is giving her advice that is key. Like, the girl is kind of nice girl, but she be having some boys that be coming over and stuff like that, real sweet. And she like, oh, Sandy, you can come to my house. And clearly her mama don't come home until 8, 9 o'clock, so already know what's going on. And she telling them, you don't need to deal with her, and don't come here with no babies and stuff like that. Where her approach is very harsh, and she's coming at it more from like a status as opposed to, like the real issue. And she gets me, like, when he first gets to her house, he talks, his dialect is, real Southern. And she like, we don't talk that slave talk and stuff like that. And I'm not calling you Sandy, I'm calling you James. And my thing is, girl, your name is Tempe. And I mean, you can't call the boy Sandy. And they call him Sandy because his hair is like brownish. But yeah, she working my nerve. And that mama cannot catch a break. And he got her going from Ohio to Chicago, from Detroit to, everywhere. James Baldwin can write. He just can write. And women characters, he can write well. I love Sandy. I love that sweetness, that innocence, that sensitivity. And just by reading this, you can, like I told you guys earlier, it is semi-autobiographical. Sandy, that's Langston. That is Langston. He's close to his grandmama, very, very smart, loves reading and writing, and if you know his background, his dad, they didn't get along. He wasn't raised by his dad. He was mainly raised by his grandmother, and I think when his grandmother died, he had to, live with an aunt or something like that. I need to look a little bit more into his life. Also, too, I need to read this. I'm always going to learn, about Langton Hughes because he's during the Harlem Renaissance. Y'all know. So, yeah, but almost done. I got ready early for bed, 9:30, I believe. And I want to hurry up and take my shower or my bath and all of that. I already did my meal prep. I just got to put it into containers. I haven't fixed this shelf. Did I show you guys this shelf? This is what I was talking about earlier. I ordered this from Amazon on Friday, I believe, and I got it on Sunday, and I put it together, which, girl, they said 15 minutes. Well, no, 15 minutes to do. That was about an hour for me, but that's where I'm going to put on my Harlem Renaissance, and I have them, like, in order. I just have to put them up. So, I might do that. Oh, and then I did go to Walmart. I was trying to figure out, you guys saw, I didn't know why I was going to Walmart. I was going there to get a water bottle. This I got from Target, and you see like this water just comes up and like suction, it sucks. So I'm like, I wanted another water bottle, but I wanted one with a straw, but they didn't have them. They had them for like $5 and they don't have them. So I went into like they have that little, you know how Target has, when you first go in there, they have like that $3, $5 section. They have that in Walmart now. So they had this, and this actually is glass. This one is gonna go in my bedroom, and I want one in here, but I wanted it with a straw, but I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try and see if I like this, and if I do, I'll get another one for here. And they do have one that's light pink, and y'all know, pink in here. But you can never have too many water bottles, but I do like this, and this is only $5, and it's glass. So yeah, that's why I went. And then of course I got some clothes, and y'all know I like to shop. So I'm going to do some more reading.
It's a beautifully rounded little tale. I think it deals, as Hughes so often does, it deals with something that's profound, something that's extraordinarily sad, but it is treated in a light-hearted way, and that was the essence of Hughes. I mean, he connects that aspect of his aesthetic to the blues. The blues is about sad events, but when they are sung, he says, people laugh. And both of them, the singing or the playing and the laughter, amount to a real victory over the sadness. So that's part of the structuring of the story. What I love to point out to people too is the absolute beauty of Hughes's prose in its simplicity. It is, I think, the most fundamentally American kind of prose you can get.
Okay guys, I just finished it. This was so good. Like it ended so hopeful, and you got closure, and you just know that Sandy is going to amount to like so much greatness, and oh, I love it. I also love the fact that Harriet ended up getting it together, okay? Because her story was a little dubious. I'm like, oh Lord, no. This pretty black girl, she just going down the wrong path. But Harriet was not only smart, but extremely talented. She could really sing, and that helped her out. I don't want to give it away, but I love this scene right here. This is towards the end. They, you know, are talking, Sandy, Angie, and Harriet. Sandy is about 16 years old, 15, 16 years old, and he desperately wants to go to school, but like, you know, they're poor. Guess you're in high school now, aren't you, kid? Third year, said Sandy, slowly dreading a new argument with his mother. And determined to keep on going here this fall, in spite me telling him I don't see how, put in Angie. Jim Bob's over yonder, Lord knows where, and I certainly can't take care of Sandy and send him to school too. No need for me trying, since he's big enough and old enough to hold a job and make his own living. He ought to be wanting to help me anyhow. Instead of that, he's determined to go back to school. Make his own living, Harriet explained, looking at Angie in astonishment. You mean you want Sandy to stay out of school to help you? What good is his little money to you? Well, he helps with the rent, his mother said, and gets his meals where he works. That's better we be doing with him studying and depending on me to keep things up. What do you mean better? Harriet cried, glaring at her sister excitedly, forgetting they had been weeping together 5 minutes before. For crying out loud, better. While Aunt Haggard turned over her grave, she heard you talking so calmly about Sandy leaving school. The way she wanted to make something out of this kid. How much do you earn a week? Harriet asked, suddenly looking at her nephew across the table. $14. Psh, that's all? I can give you that much myself, Harriet said. Running an elevator for $14 a week and losing your education, she cried. Good Lord, Angie, you ought to be ashamed. You want him to keep that up? This boy gotta get ahead. All of us are too far back in the white man's country to let any brains go to waste. Don't you realize that? You and me were foolish, all right, breaking mama's heart leaving school, but Sandy can't do like us. Angie, you hear me? Help the whole race. I want to, Sandy said. Then you stay in school, Harriet affirmed, still looking at Angie. And girl, she got her together, as you can see, and I love that. You serious, girl? What you mean help you out? Like, first of all, you the mama. Again, love the way this ended. You got closure, and This book is 5 stars, 5 stars. Oh my goodness, like, oh, I mean, it's Langton Hughes. It's like mic drop. It's Langton Hughes. So if you guys have not read his debut novel, Without Laughter, I would urge you to, because I mean, it's fantastic. That's all I can say. I can't say anything else. This is fantastic. So yeah, guys, that is it when it comes to reading a book in a day. I love doing this because I feel so accomplished and I'm still able to get things done around the house, run errands and everything. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys, and I'll be back with more Black books. Bye.
All I remember really is that when he asked me which of his books I liked, very honestly, I said I haven't read a single one. And he never missed a beat. He just reached behind him, as if he'd done this many times, to a cabinet, and then turned around and took out copies of, everything he'd written, put them in my arms. And I thought, there are not many people with that kind of grace. Once you tell them that you haven't read anything, you don't know anything, who are they, why am I here, but he was very graceful, and I really appreciated it. I was really young, and he could have said things that were very hurtful, but he didn't. He was wonderful.